Okay, welcome to the Mitches podcast. Today I have Joe Arsenal. How you doing, Joe?
I am great, Karen. Thanks for having me.
So how is your spring getting off to?
You know what? I'm just celebrating that I survived the winter. It's that was a bad one, and I estimate we're down to 3 weeks until shirtlessness.
Nice. Do you spend a lot of the warm season shirtless?
As much as I can. I plan to get hit by a car or something long before skin cancer comes in, so let her rip.
Nice. Are you like a cottager or a boat guy or?
No. I'm not that kind of white. I am more of a city beach guy.
Nice. I love Toronto's beaches.
Yeah. I always like to. They're a little too popular though, so I like to go when it's not crowded. So, I have found the key to happiness: a 40% probability of precipitation is enough to scare everyone away, and that's a 60% chance of me having the beach to myself. Those are my golden days.
That is well thought out. I love it. So one of the ways I always think of you as like the Smalls Mike host and producer.
I have found my niche.
How long have you been doing that for?
So I've been hosting the Smalls Kitchen open mic for about a year and a half now. For a while, I alternated weeks with Andrew Wambolt as he was deciding he'd had enough of hosting an open mic. And then I took over the whole thing. So yeah, about a year and a half.
Okay, nice. That's a nice way, I guess, to ease into it.
Yeah. It just, it had been a lackluster mic where the hosts were fatigued, let's say. And I just, raised my hand and said, let me know if you ever need a substitute host. And they needed substitute hosts a lot. So I was like, can we just make this a regular thing? And yeah, I guess I just kind of, conned my way in there.
I feel like you really turned it around, though, because a lot of people who come on here talk about that as like their favorite mic, and it's well run and no one can believe like the crowd response when it's just comics, but it's not everyone on their phone or leaving right away.
You know, it has been a wonderful project for me. I just started a new job, but I had a couple of years break from my career, and I applied everything I learned as a successful business manager to an open mic. Like, pay attention. Is there a slight, like, people sometimes just need a slight nudge to behave in a different way to the benefit of all. It's like the biggest thing I always said in business to novice managers was people have a strong tendency to become what you treat them like. And so, I don't want to hear open mic hosts introduce everyone like they're garbage, even if they're your best friend. No, everyone is a star until proven otherwise.
I love that. Yeah, because there is like a lot of like bad behavior in comedy. So I think there is kind of like sometimes a mentality like like all these monkeys and like you idiots, like not even to be mean, but to be jokey.
Well, no, like what I hate to see at open mics, and I don't know how common it is now because I stopped going to others now that I get my fill of open mic comedy every week. But when I was a regular at most of the open mics in Toronto, at some of the worst ones, the host would be discouraged or disappointed about their own comedy journey, shall we say.
Yeah.
And make jokes that are intended to be self-deprecating about how unglamorous and unprestigious the venue and the event are and the lack of audience and how far we are from our dreams.
Yeah.
But you're also shitting on everyone else who's deeming this worth their time.
Yes.
And if there's someone there who's going to be performing comedy for the first time, if you're ever going to perform comedy, your first time is a major life milestone for you.
Yeah.
So, could you imagine doing that? And the host is like, well, this venue sucks. And aren't we all embarrassed to be here? Okay, let's tell our jokes. Like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
whatever the state of the bar, it is the best comedy show in the world until proven otherwise.
I love that. I've also seen where one comic just has like their own personal meltdown on stage and is like, we're not, no one, none of you are going to make it. We're all like, they just, yeah, it's pretty horrific.
I mean, what is making it anyway, honestly? Okay, I mean, I guess we all have the daydream fantasy of making a living from creative work, even though we don't live in California. And if you're still trying, I mean, okay, I mean, I'd love to sell a script or something, but the sooner you pivot and just start doing it for love of the craft and the joy of making a room laugh, I think that's when, well, sorry, I'm projecting. This is my story. That's when I started loving it.
I love that. Do you find like, okay, wait, but one other thing, like, I was just thinking about something and now I feel like it's fading. Oh yeah. Just similar to that is when you're on a booked show and sometimes the audience isn't giving a lot of reaction. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're nervous. But I find a lot of comics do a thing where they start to make fun of the show and how bad it is. And I get what they're doing. But like, I'm wary of that because sometimes it bums me out if people start saying like, it feels like we're at a bus station or something. And but I don't want to be like the delusional person who's like, this is the best show ever.
I know. I mean, like, I always, I have a line I use at the beginning of every Small's Kitchen open mic as part of the information package I have to give to newcomers. I try to have it both ways. I just embrace the absurdity. I say, this is the best comedy venue in the world, and that is why the washrooms are behind the stage. It's one would think that makes it less good.
I love it. So before you did comedy, did you have other creative endeavors that you were into?
Yeah, actually, so in my very productive midlife crisis, I quickly identified I had not had a creative outlet since high school writing assignments, and my biggest dream was always to write a book. And I started off, at home I've got a handwritten notebook that I believe now has the very good chapter 1 of a crime novel that I might pick up one day.
Oh my God.
But my self-doubt was too strong. I pivoted to comedy because if you're completely delusional about whether you have talent, you find out real fast. Through comedy, I found out that when I think I've written something good, I'm right about 60 to 70% of the time. That's a pretty good hit rate. So now I have confidence in my writing, and I've since written a book.
I love that. Wait, you have written a book?
Yeah, I didn't pick up the crime novel again, but my success at making people laugh in comedy gave me the confidence to persist, and it's in the editing stages now, which are very different and very difficult. But I completed a 440-page manuscript that is a travel memoir.
Oh my God!
Last year.
Okay, so I feel like we need to mention that you also worked in the travel industry.
Yes,
but you were like organizing corporate travel.
Mostly, yeah, exactly.
But is travel just like a huge part of your life?
Yeah. It's, to me, it's always been instinctive. I was obsessed. My autistic boy fixation was on geography in general. I always had a road atlas or a map of the world by my side, and I would leave my parents alone.
So, what's the specific trip that you wrote about?
It was a pilgrimage I did, the Camino de Santiago.
Oh.
I flew into Lisbon and spent a month walking north, and the book is called A Million Steps North.
That's amazing. One of my girlfriends, I don't think she did the whole thing, but she did a section of it. So this is like a famous, will you explain it?
Yeah, it's a common misconception that it's a specific path. It's not. There's an ancient tradition in Europe that Christians will walk to Santiago de Compostela from their hometown, wherever it is in Europe.
Oh.
Because that's the burial place by legend of one of Jesus's apostles.
Do we know which one?
St. James, Santiago.
Okay.
It's Spanish for it. but I just chose to fly into Lisbon. It just felt right because that's the closest point on the mainland to where we're from. But most people walk from the north of Spain just because if you come there from any other corner of Europe, you have to go around the corner essentially. But traditionally, you're allowed to say you've walked the Santiago or the Camino if you get there having walked at least 100 kilometers from any direction.
Amazing. So how long before you started writing had you done the trip?
I think I started writing about 6 months after I did the trip.
Okay,
Yeah, thereabouts.
amazing. And were you already a Catholic when you did the trip?
Yes, I was a very recent convert to Catholicism. I figured, I thought now that I'm a Catholic, I can like join in the pilgrimages and like without having imposter syndrome. I belong here too. It was like using all the amenities like a hotel pool.
I love it. Okay, so what was your religious affiliation growing up?
So I was baptized in infancy in Catholicism, but then zero religion, raised atheist, more or less. But we never even talked about it. So you can't say you're raised atheist. It makes it sound like a dinner table conversation where there's no God, kids. No, we just lived.
Yeah, because I oftentimes like rag on atheists, but with that I mean people who are like, I'm sure there's no God, which seems kind of like a religion. But a lot of people just aren't. They don't just subscribe to anything. Yeah. So it's not really like you are this thing. It's sort of like you just aren't any faith.
I mean, my parents were just like, they didn't believe in God, but they thought ghosts were real and didn't think too hard about it.
I love that.
And I like to say I converted from being technically a Catholic to actually a Catholic.
Yeah.
What I like to say when I became aware of the divine, I was very inspired by Pope Francis and thought, foot traffic ought to go up into the sky. So the rest is history. I started.
Wait, is Francis the one before the current one?
Yes, Pope Francis died on Easter Monday last year, the same day I finished my book.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was a major inspiration to me, and I woke up to the news he had died. And let's just say that finishing the first draft that day was an extreme stretch target, but I thought he hit his Easter target because clearly he was on death's door and he held out and died Easter Monday. That's a Catholic legend right there. So if he hit his target, I'm going to hit mine, and I did it.
I love that. So what was it about Pope Francis that was inspirational to you? Well,
a lot of people don't know about Catholic environmentalism. Like I'm very I like to say I'm a full brain Christian. Like I used to think that religion was a form of turning off a part of your brain to pretend something pleasant. And no, you can use your entire brain God gave you to think, okay, what would he like us to do? And just Pope Francis, he wrote a document called Laudato Si, which is basically about putting the weight to the best of his ability, the weight of the whole church, like to saving the world from environmental catastrophe, even if it means dismantling capitalism. I actually have it tattooed over my heart.
Oh wow! What's it called?
Laudato Si.
Laudato Si.
Yeah, it's the title of an old poem St. Francis of Assisi wrote, and it just means I praise you. So it's it also turns my body into a short text, which is a prayer.
I love that. I also am a fan of St. Francis of Assisi. I'd like, not that
really
I know him.
Really name 3 of his albums. What do you like about him?
I don't know, is it a poem that's like, or a prayer? The prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, he had a way with words.
Yeah.
I like that he was born into a life of privilege, and when his dad, in the way dads do, was trying to dictate his life with a mind on the money, shall we say. He renounced his inheritance and wealth publicly in the town square, including all the clothes he was wearing.
Oh, man.
Just to prove he didn't need his possessions, he stripped naked, and I don't know how he left the scene and where he slept that night, but
yeah, that's
he
an
made his
awkward
point.
Like the moment you rip off your clothes is like very poignant, but then it's like, yeah, that's a very awkward exit.
Thanks to that scene, the casting of his biopic gets interesting, right? Like, who do we want to see in this scene?
Was he kind of a fat guy too?
I don't know.
I guess I just like picture, I don't know, like all monks being kind of like anyway.
That's Disney. That's Father John. How many monks do you know?
I feel like they have that picture of like, I guess that is a little maybe from Disney.
All right, we solved the mystery. Monks can be fit and lean. In fact, I think they're supposed to. I don't know.
So, growing up, not religious at all, very into geography, and I know you mentioned autism.
Yeah.
Do you have an actual diagnosis?
Okay, no, but just my sister knows me better than anyone, and she gave me a book called Self-Care for Autistic People. And I read it, and I was like, oh, I don't need a diagnosis because the only treatment I need is knowing there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah. Because you probably had already learned sort of like skills to compensate and like function in your life.
Well, it's, however, life has become more difficult with the pervasiveness of tech and everything. I'm subject to sensory overload. I got to be normal going to high school in the 90s. Today I'd be special needs. So just learning that I have this need and I can insist on my needs. Like if we meet up for a drink or lunch and the only place to sit, I have a TV in my field of vision that's showing CP24, I'm going to bail because it's not possible for me to do anything but watch the news right now.
Yeah.
That is something we've normalized in today's world, but that was never... it never came up that I had a special need because you could live your life without having screens in your face all the time when I was young.
Yeah. It's like our environment has become very unnatural, and certain people's makeup, it hits them first. But I think it's hitting all of us. It's just like a lot of people don't know the things that are wearing on them because it might not cause them to have a problem that day, but like over time, it's probably affecting them.
Yeah, like I hesitate to call myself special needs really because, the accommodations that I find unbearable sometimes if I don't have them, so I have to just insist on it. But everyone would benefit from them. Like just, I want to get like one of those universal remotes and just turn off the TVs discreetly in every venue I go to. Like, let us think our thoughts.
Do you find yourself like, are you on your phone a lot?
I'd like to play a character who's not, but the reality is, that is my worst addiction by far, like everyone, right?
Yeah. Are you like a news guy or just like culture or like random stuff?
It's so, especially during COVID, checking the news on my phone too much really harmed my mind, and I had to recover from that. And
yeah.
I'm a really old-fashioned guy. I have found that I never check the news on my phone anymore. I buy the Toronto Star and I read it on paper. I'm better informed on Canadian politics than American. That's how every Canadian should be, but I'm rare.
I also have a strong belief that when you get your American news, you should get it from a Canadian or a foreign outlet. Like you shouldn't engage with American news media because it's toxic. So if you want to know what Trump's doing, you can read it in a Canadian newspaper. You can watch the BBC, you can watch Al Jazeera, like anything, but don't turn on any of their news. Yeah,
there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, I don't want to discount how great a lot of American journalism is. Like, if you want to know America well, yes, you should read the New York Times. But in many ways, you can see the country a little bit clearer from outside of it. it's I mean, Canada's got a front row seat to the greatest show on earth, right? Have you looked at a map? We've got our head in the lion's jaws.
Oh my god. Are you optimistic about where the world's gonna turn over, say, the next 5 to 10?
Well, hopelessness is against my religion, but things aren't looking good.
Yeah.
I think to be a happy person right now, we have to be honest with ourselves, away from the distractions about the state of the world and the direction things are going. I've lived long enough to witness the world getting warmer and people getting dumber. And I took comfort from once when I was in a low state of mind because of the state of the world. I was walking in a forest in autumn, and I had this wonderful thought when I saw this beautiful tree that had fallen and it was decaying, and it had these really beautiful fungus growing out of it. And I had the wonderful thought that this massive mushroom is not less beautiful than the birds that flew from this bird's branches at an earlier phase of its life. It's just a different role.
Yeah.
So that analogy unlocked for me what I was struggling with, like how to live a happy life mid-apocalypse.
Yeah. And yeah, you can see like there are empires that build up and then they decay. And if you live at the time like that the Roman Empire is falling apart, like it doesn't mean like you necessarily suffer greatly. Like you still live, like whatever time period you're in, that's where you're building your life, and then you build it out of like the day-to-day reality as opposed to waking up every day like, oh my god.
And also electronic news media was a big part of the problem because it's we shouldn't care that much about people we haven't met. I don't care, if you only read stories about them, someone like Donald Trump or Mark Carney for that matter doesn't play that big of a role of your life. Like, who is the president of the United States? It should be the answer to a trivia question. It shouldn't be something you think about 20 times a day. Like my life got a lot better when I, had a policy of just assuming every single person in the digital world I have not met in person is a bot. Like, just it's AI. Ignore it. Like, if I meet you in person, I know I ignored you earlier. Oh, I assumed you were AI. Take it as a compliment.
Yeah. And then, like, I think also if you're very upset about what you're seeing in your phone, then you have less energy for what you see in your real life, and then probably less effort to, like, affect those things. Those people, like your real people.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's a drain. The human being in the room is the important one.
I was reading this thing. It was part of like an astrology something or other, but the woman or the person writing it was saying like there's an ethos of like apocalypse or like an apocalyptic thinking that benefits certain industries. Like it benefits the gambling industry. It benefits cryptocurrencies. So there's a vested interest in selling people an idea that we're in some kind of end time environment because it gets you ready. Like if you think the world is normal, then you're going to worry about your job and your like day-to-day life. But if you think everything's going to shit, then you're more likely to want to gravitate towards these things that people are literally trying to sell you.
Well, I mean, I think people need some guidance about what they should do about it. Like this is the problem. America has been undone by its culture of hedonism and self-pleasure rather than any nobler ideal. There are so many great Americans and good Americans fighting the fight, but the United States is at the moment resembling very much a country where the bad guys have won. And it's that same... They were able to win because of the culture of, okay, the world's ending, let me try even harder to get rich because that's what matters.
Do you think there wasn't a turning point in American history, or like they were sort of always on this path?
Oh, that's a good question. To be honest, I think it was cursed from the start because of slavery. Just the chattel slavery meant that America was always going to be a country where the middle class, everyone from the middle class up, would have some suspicion about the general public, and the entire economy and culture have just been built around making sure that people don't have to share.
Yeah. And I think that is the thing that sort of stands out. Like when I'm noticing fundamental differences between Canada and America, I would say like it's libertarian, but that it is like a profound, like a pursuit of wealth that's completely isolated. Like it's not about getting my family, or I don't know. Yeah, just a very isolated individualist pursuit of wealth that's not dependent on reallocating anything to the community.
Well, I mean, I don't want to simplify things, and also I don't want to give the impression that I think Canada's better. I don't want to be a hypocrite. We have work to do. I mean, this is the national pastime, actually, right? Like talking about America so we can feel smug and superior when, we don't talk about all the things going wrong in our own society and culture because, frankly, it's so boring to pay attention to it.
Well, we have like an origin story that's like enmeshed with theirs,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have a continued relationship with them, and you can always like see where we differ from European countries and lean towards an American way of life, which is, and I mean with that like I'm trying to think of it like I think of words like libertarian or business focus,
Mm-hmm.
like liberal, but in the sense of like a high dependency and focus on the market economy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm not sure whether that's really different from Canada, just the fact that just because everything in America is bigger because the country is bigger, it just inevitably becomes more intense. I mean, I've lived in Toronto my whole life, and it saddens me sometimes that a lot of this city is built and designed by people who never question the idea that the purpose of a city is to make money and run a business. No, a city is a place where people can live their lives in beauty and joy if you actually, don't fuck it up for them.
Yeah. But there is a lot of that kind of, I don't know, maybe like looking down on people who see it differently. Like if you're not smart, if you're not business focused.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's, yeah, Canada and the States are the same. And it just means I just like to focus on celebrating the people who really get it right. The older I get, the more I appreciate people in general, and especially those rare people who have put some thought into what our time on this planet is for. And you find them in America, you find them in Canada, and we're all, I'm always so eager to hear other people's answer to that question. How should we spend our lives? What are we here to do? What should we do? And it's I'm glad that the United States is a country I'm glad I know so well. I've traveled it extensively. I know a lot of Americans, and it's, of all the countries in the world, it would be the scariest one just to stereotype from the outside without knowing the people.
Yeah. Because I think there's a lot of like people who uphold the American system because they believe in this specific ideology, but they're still deeply focused on, like, they want good things to happen to people around them. They might be involved in volunteer work, like their church, they're doing good things. It's just like they're also strong to defend a system, and then it's that system because I do find like even just like a lot of the people I have on the show have done some comedy in the US,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll talk about American audiences and how positive people are. And yeah, I feel like most people like individual Americans, so that criticism has more to do with the bigger unit than the individual people.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's yeah, I hear such great stories. I've never performed south of the border, but it's I would love to make Americans laugh one day. They're your red tape.
When you got into Catholicism, did you have like a singular moment that was like your call to faith?
There were a few. So I'd say the biggest one was when I became an atheist would say I started believing in God at this point, but I would say became aware of him. At that point, I started attending the Catholic Church as a respecter of Jesus and Pope Francis and feeling I need some sort of community. And I decided to read the Bible. I mean, just the Jesus part. I'm not a masochist.
You weren't like, what's this Leviticus all about?
Well, okay, it's 2,000 pages. And then you get... I mean, could you imagine reading the entire Bible in printing order? And like from a Christian perspective, you get 1,200 pages into it and you find out the first 1,200 pages were just for context. Anyway, whoever wrote the Gospel according to Mark had a brain like mine. And there came a point when I was reading it where it's like a chill went down my spine. And I felt like this does not feel like fiction. And like I know how human minds work. I've read a lot of stories. Like you would not, I mean, it was the story of the fig tree. Jesus he's stressed out. He knows he's about to be tortured to death. He's hungry. He comes upon a fig tree because he likes figs and he could use a snack, and there's no fresh fruit on it, and he gets pissed off and he destroys the tree. He curses it so it never bears fruit again. And the writer of the Gospel of Mark includes the detail in figs weren't even in season. Like, Jesus was irrational and destructive because he was in a bad mood. And I just had like, if you were making it up, you wouldn't put this detail in. And I just, from that moment on, decided, okay, if I really believed this, what would I do following his instructions? And yeah, my life just got way better immediately.
I love that. Do you think like you before you engage with religion, like were you an especially rational or like logical person?
Yeah, totally. And I still am. I think I just found the completely airtight logical case to be a Catholic.
I feel like for me, like I just think like if we look at everything reasonably, like it's like, I don't know, if you only moved your body gently and you never ran or worked out, it's like you have to enter into like another state that is like intuitive and faithful and imaginative, and that like being in that state is part of like being healthy, and like so you can't have real wisdom or understanding if you're just like robotically logical.
Yeah, totally. There's an analogy I'm fond of. I think every human being is an angel riding a beast. Like our soul is a little slice of God lent to us for our mortal life, and we get to inhabit this animal flesh and blood with all the emotions and hormones and body parts required to be a beast in the jungle and survive, with all that entails. But as long as the angel keeps tight control, we get to be better than that, and graceful and kind and generous and peaceful. And but that beast is always there, and in both mind and body, how tightly do you hold on to the reins? Because eventually you got to relax and let the beast graze or whatever. The analogy falls apart, but
yeah, but like, yeah, you have to live in like a mundane reality, but then keep this other deeper part of yourself engaged.
Well, I mean, it's a fascinating question of being human. How tightly should or could we control ourselves? You know, I mean, there's a few things you shouldn't do, and within the realm of things you can do in life, like the possibilities are pretty tantalizing.
When you like when you're doing performing comedy and writing comedy, do you think it like it connects with your spiritual journey, or is it just like something you do in life that you also enjoy?
No, totally. It's like the biggest part of my faith is just believing we're made to do something and you have to figure it out and try to do it. That's I mean, you know, Jesus says nothing about gay sex. He goes on and on about not wasting your talent. So figure out what you're supposed to do and do it. And I I would love to, like, I like the idea of broadening the notion of what Christian entertainment is. I can't stand that means G-rated, inoffensive. Like, no, someone following in Jesus' example would be offensive, would cause offense. I think good-natured comedy about especially the messy parts of being human in today's life is very pleasing to God. And I try to test myself, like, what is the range of topics that I can write good-natured comedy about?
Yeah, because it is a weird thing. Like, I think Christian entertainment does get overlapped with like children's entertainment, things the whole family can do. But like, I mean, if you think of like all the paintings people have done of Christ, like those aren't done for kids, right? They're great works of art. That's Christian art. And then to be like, well, now when we make Christian art, it has to be like a family friendly cartoon or something. Like,
well, it's not even that. I mean, if you're thinking of like classical paintings of like, those are, I don't mean, that's art on religious themes.
Yeah.
Those paintings were educational tools more than anything else. But especially among evangelicals in the United States, there's no, evangelicals in Canada do this a lot too, I think. There's this idea that if you're a Christian, you exclusively watch Christian entertainment and listen to, and it's all going to be sanitized because, you know, just anyway, it kind of boggles my mind how anyone can read the manual and think being a Christian means living your life at a distance from the gross parts of life.
Yeah.
When Noah, the founder of our religion, emphatically dove in.
Yeah. And like Johnny Cash was a Christian, and like he talks about like his life struggles from a Christian perspective, but he's not like, hey kids, don't swear, or like he's not prescribing moral behavior or pretending to live cleaner than other people. He's just like because to me, I do think there is like a really specific purpose, or not, there's a right way for a human to live, and it's specific to that person, and they're supposed to sort of like cultivate their gifts. So if you do have artistic gift, you are supposed to like bring that to light, and then the idea that you would somehow dim that in order to fit into something moral or polite is like antithetical to making art, and why we have all this like bad Christian art. Like, I'm trying to think of those movies about the rapture.
Left Behind.
Yeah. and almost like an ongoing joke about like that the Christian right doesn't produce any good art.
Well, I have so many jokes I want to make, but no, I will apply my principle of not criticizing art I haven't seen. I have not seen the Left Behind films. They could be great, Karen. They could be great. I would give them a chance. Maybe Kirk Cameron was robbed of the Oscar. Who knows? Or was it Nicolas Cage? I think there were two. Anyway.
Did Cage do one?
You know what? I stopped following movies at around the time there was a reboot of America's beloved Left Behind film franchise. This time with Nicolas Cage. I think I will not whip out my phone to check.
Okay.
But like I mean, Jesus drank and swore, so it's just check the manual, guys.
When you were writing your book, did you like what was your process? Like, did you take classes or did you read a book on writing a memoir?
Here's what worked for me. I learned pretty fast that I thrive with electronics away, so I would go to a cafe or bar and just handwrite in a notebook. Transcribing things you've handwritten is a mundane task, so I did that pretty quickly. I didn't just type up an entire handwritten book at the end. I wish I'd recorded what date I did this, because it was the most productive day of my life. I sat down at a cafe in a notebook, and I wrote in bullet point form all the scenes from this trip that should be in it, all the memories, everything. And then I set it aside, and I started writing the book in public. And if I got blocked, I would look at someone in the cafe and imagine I was telling the story to them. What's next? And I just write it down instead of saying it. And when I got really stuck, I would just pull out the notebook and I'd see, okay, what bullet points have I covered since the last time I checked this? Oh, got that. Okay, choose another. Different people have different styles that work, but my, being able to decide the chronology and everything as I was going.
Did it change from like do the scenes happen chronologically?
Well, the final version, they will. I've made that decision pretty much. But draft one was not. Draft one was a bigger book. Like, I have written a 440-page book that is good, and I believe I can carve a really good 200-page book out of it.
Amazing.
That's what I'm doing now. But the first draft was an experiment where the beginning was achronological and all over the place and kind of untethered and hard to orient yourself. But I had this visionary scheme planned of going from chaos to order, and then part 3 was an incredibly simplistic, stripped down story of just waking up and walking every day. And then, having put my heart and soul into this, I realized that's the best part of the book and I can make it the whole thing.
I love that. Yeah, because I guess, the road like appears as you walk it. So you can have the best laid plans when you structure it initially, but as you write it, you realize what it really is.
Well, and I've learned so much, especially by handwriting. It's the part of the brain that writes is different from the part of the brain that thinks silently and that speaks. And you will, like, the best version of me has a pen in my hand. I'm just smarter. If you ask me a tough question and you ask me to write it down, I will give you a better answer than by speaking.
Yeah.
And it was an act of faith. I just decided that as I'm writing, I will decide where to go from here, and it kept happening. And yeah, it's I'm proud that I wrote it by hand. I'm like, what a possession to have, right? I've got my handwritten book.
You have it. Oh yeah, that's a beautiful thing to have.
Yeah. I wish I'd used slightly better notebooks. They should be embossed or something. Some of them are, but one or two of them was dollar store.
I feel like, I don't know, my sister was in Bhutan and she brought me back this notebook that's like hand bound and it's so beautiful. I'm like, I can't ever write anything in
You
this.
have to. Just make the words worth it. Use it for your memoir.
But the thing is, like, I would be writing like a comedy memoir. I feel like it wouldn't be.
Yeah, unworthy. Okay, wait for your spiritual awakening then.
Yeah. All my goals right now, writing wise, are comedy related, and like that might be where I just stay.
Yeah.
Which like.
So use the same embossed relic notebook, but just put a bumper sticker on it. Something super ironic. I'm stupid.
I think it's funny that like everyone kind of reads like a lot of the same books growing up, and if you do become a writer, like you don't probably know right away what kind of writer you're going to be. So
Hmm.
it's like everybody read Jane Austen, but some people grow up to be a literary writer and some people write Twilight, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think my favorite writer of all time will probably always be Agatha Christie. Um, and it's just, I eventually learned to savor poetic language and beauty, language for the sake of its own beauty. Um, but what got me to love reading was the, just writing as a pure tool to tell you what happened next, to explain this puzzle I've got for you to solve. And that, as I edit my book, I realize that is my first instinct. I have a weakness for forgetting to tell someone why something is important and how it felt, because I'm just, let me give you a list of facts about what happened in what order, right? So it's uh you know, Agatha Christie is a writer who always, I mean, are you familiar with Agatha Christie, the greatest mystery writer of all time?
Yeah, but I think like she wrote The Mousetrap, right?
Yep.
So that would be one like I've seen that play. I don't think I've never read an Agatha Christie novel, but I guess I would know a lot of her stories because they're so famous.
Yeah, I mean, it's just she was incredibly successful on every level, but never literarily ambitious. She wasn't trying to win a Nobel or to write grand poetry. Well,
Yeah.
I think she might have tried that, um, but she, you know, it was just all about the entertaining story, and yeah, that's really what I'd like my writing to be.
Are you nervous about the mystery, like going into the mystery novel because of that kind of like it's not just like a straightforward like these are the events.
Oh,
Like the
no, it's exciting. I mean, after, if I go back and finish that novel, which, you know, I've only got so many dreams that haven't come true, so I guess I should some point. Um, but it's going to be really interesting going from writing nonfiction to the freedom where I can just make shit up. Like, as I was writing the memoir, I gradually learned um, that I didn't, you know, I was really, when I started writing it, I was a little too attentive to making sure everything remains nonfiction, the truth. But then I realized as I was writing, oh yeah, I'm not a journalist. So, like for instance, the beginning of my first draft has almost no dialogue in it because I don't know the exact words people really said. It was as I continued, I realized, oh, I can invent dialogue when I remember the gist of the conversation. That's still
yeah,
the truth, you know?
yeah. I get that too because I feel like yeah, people want to be accurate, but then it's also at some point you just have to tell the fucking story.
So to pivot from that mentality to fiction when I can just make shit up, like, I mean, I should do that on stage sometimes. You know, okay, I like to maintain a veneer that my stories may be completely made up, but between you and me, they're all true. And I wish I had more imagination than that, I guess.
I guess for me, I'd be nervous to write a mystery because like I feel like there's more involved in pulling it off. But maybe that in itself is like a process you would enjoy being involved in.
Yeah, I mean, it's high stakes, I guess, because if you fail, um, like, I read a lot, but I won't choose a mystery at random. I need to know it got good reviews or won an award or something, because there's nothing worse than, you know, a mystery is defined by how good the ending is. That's what matters more than everything else. I've read mysteries where I was really engaged right up to the end, and then the solution was completely lackluster, and retroactively it wasn't a good book. So I need to know someone read the whole thing and found it satisfying.
Yeah.
So could you imagine the work that goes into writing 300 pages of prose because you think you've got a clever solution and it turns out other people don't like it? Oh.
Yeah. But I think there's a way to test it without writing the full novel.
I don't know. I mean, it was so tough for me as I was writing because I always wanted someone's feedback. Like, it's, I mean, you know, as a comedian, you know when you're too close to your text and you can't even tell if it's funny anymore, or you can't engage with what's funny about it.
Yeah.
But when you've written a whole book, that times 10. Like, I can't even tell if this is amusing anymore. I've memorized this paragraph. So anyway, it was actually, but you can't just describe a book to someone and find out how they're going to react to the real thing.
Yeah, because you have to like plot it and pace it, and like, so the execution, like I could describe a novel I'm going to write and you're like, that sounds great, that ending's so good, but then I don't execute it, so you're like, yeah, it didn't work.
And so all through when I was writing my book, I was dying to get some validation, but I knew I couldn't even describe what I had in mind to someone. I needed to get it on paper so I could hand it to someone. And yeah, it was I had one close trusted friend who read it while it was in progress, and until I finished the whole thing, that was it. Because I can describe what I've written, but that you're not.
Yeah.
You can't give me feedback on that, right? I'm sure it's the same with a mystery novel. You can't just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So aside from Agatha Christie, do you have any other favorite mystery writers?
Yeah, there's a great American spy thriller writer named Joseph Cannon.
I haven't heard of him.
Yeah, no one's heard of anything anymore. Our society is completely atomized. But Cannon with a K, and he... I know my history, and if there's a geographical or historical error in your book, I'm gonna catch it, and I'm gonna get out of the story completely and just feel superior, and that's not what I want a book to do. This guy, he just puts you back in like Cold War Moscow or World War II Berlin, and meanwhile there's a spy who's having sexy adventures and trying to avoid getting killed. Oh, it's glorious.
I love that so much. Do you have any favorite memoirs that you've read?
Yeah, have you heard of Arundhati Roy? She just great Indian writer, and she published a memoir last year about her tumultuous relationship with her mother, called Mother Mary Comes to Me. It's
Did she grow up in India?
Yeah.
Like she still is in India.
Yeah, this is one. India is a complicated country, and Arundhati Roy is, she is defiantly Indian. It's in a country where a lot of people who are as successful as she has leaves. She's planting her flag and insisting on chipping away at improving Delhi. She's a remarkable person.
I love that.
And her story tells you how she got that way. It's yeah, she is a second generation remarkable woman, and it's I mean, if you had an unusual parent, you can only rage for so long in defiance that the fact that your relationship with that parent is going to be a defining element of your life, whether you like it or not. You don't get to choose it, and it just shapes you, and you got to find the good in it. And anyway, as someone who's known that path, Arundhati Roy, her Mother Mary Comes to Me.
Does your path, does that come up in your memoir at all, your travel memoir? Like your relationship to your family, or is that not part of it? Yeah,
actually, I'm just deciding how much of myself to put into it. It's because the truth is that the Camino was a healing journey of figuring out how my mind got to be the way it is. Like, if you walk all day every day with no distractions, you're going to find out real fast what you were distracting yourself from.
Yeah.
And I love my parents. They were wildly unprepared to be parents to me, and like they kept me fed and did not know what they were doing. And
Do either of them have a personality similar to yours?
no, well,
Or is there anyone in the family that you would suspect is also on the spectrum?
oh, my my paternal side. You see, my family is a perfect test case to actually test what is nature, what is nurture, because my dad and all his siblings definitely same as me, but a little more intensely so. But they had an adopted older brother who was neurotypical. So it was like, can you imagine growing up in that household? Like, you're the only one who can make eye contact. And and yeah, I've got a half brother and a half sister, and we observe the ways in which we are similar to each other and different. It's
So your sister that you mentioned, is she through your dad's side or your mom's side?
no, my sister and I share a mother, and my brother and I share a father.
And then the sister's older?
No, I'm the oldest by far. They're both much younger than me.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of grew up as an only child and
Got siblings later.
Exactly. I like to say my little brother was born a few months after I moved out.
Oh.
So I like to say my dad was convicted of 2 counts of heterosexuality, and he served his sentences consecutively.
Amazing. We're coming close to the end. I'm worried I haven't touched on everything because I feel like that was a lot. Like, you've written a whole book, and I don't want to make you like reveal too much of what's in the book, but I'm very excited that that's in existence.
Thanks. Yeah, it's I'm wary because I'm not the first person to write a story of walking the Camino. So how is my book different? But you know what? It's definitely still worth doing, and I've put together some wisdom with my time on Earth, and I put, I'm pleased with how much of it I can put into words. So I've got to make an effort to get this out there in some way, because I feel like one of my purposes in life is to create the art I've been looking for and not finding. And if I know I have written a book that I would always have been thrilled to find on the shelves, and to actually get it on real shelves would be a dream extra come true. Let's call it that.
I love that explanation so much. I really think that is like the best reason to make art. And I think anyone can talk themselves out of, oh, there's so many books about this. Like, yeah, but there keeps being amazing ones. So that's why people should keep writing them. Or I think I see with especially younger people right now, people getting demoralized because AI is everything, or because they think you can only get somewhere with privilege. And it's like, these are the kinds of things that prevent people from doing what they're supposed to do.
Totally.
And there'll always be something in your head that's like, oh, somebody else already did it. Or
yeah, no, I mean, it's hey, we've all got the little angel and the little devil on our shoulders, and the devil's telling you not to try.
So this won't come out for another couple weeks, but I'm wondering, is there anything you want to plug that you have coming up?
No, I want to stay underground, actually. I'm exactly as famous as I want to be.
Amazing. So I guess we can just say the Smalls Kitchen open mic is every Monday.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Okay. Amazing. Thanks so much for coming on, Joe.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Karen.